So on Friday's card, we've got a really nice pick four to end things at Saratoga, the Belmont at Saratoga Racing Festival. It's an all-stakes pick four, comprises races 9 through 12 on Friday's card. And the first leg is the Intercontinental Stakes. It's a grade 2, run at 5.5 furlongs on the turf for 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. And some of you may remember Intercontinental was one of my all-time favorite fillies. Never ran at 5.5 furlongs, interestingly enough, but did win the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf at 1.25 miles when they didn't think she could get the distance, and was a horse who could not be rated. Was just headstrong as hell and brought it every time. Really loved that filly, so a little history there. We'll take a look at this field, and it's interesting that we only have one lone front runner, confirmed speed, and that's Lady Milagro. And ordinarily that would pique my interest, but Lady Milagro, I don't know, is a grade 2 quality horse, and she tends to give it up pretty readily on the front end, so I don't expect her to be around. We look at some of the others. A lot of these, I just don't think class-wise they necessarily match up. Coffee Maker is one I think is very intriguing at 10-1. This horse has a ton of back class, and if you look, not only does she have a win at Saratoga, but she has run in key race after key race, so she should be awfully salty in this field. And given her position likely to be in the 2-hole, she should have a good ground-saving trip just off of Lady Milagro and may get a jump if she's good enough. So I think Coffee Maker makes a lot of sense here. Let's throw in Spicy Bug at 20-1 for value number 1. But number 2, Saratoga is a track of sires, and Speightstown is about as good a sire as you can get at the Spa. So for that reason, we're going to throw Spicy Bug in there. Coming from California, of course, the question is class, but did have a solid effort in her last race, and on a track where she may find it to her liking. Spicy Bug is interesting, probably more for under, but does offer some interesting value. Love Reigns, what do you do with? I mean, this horse is just obviously has some soundness issues. It takes a long time between starts. Her last effort was her best to date, but you right back to the bench again, and you note some gaps in the work tab. So it's not overly certain that Love Reigns is going to run her best race. If she does, she's certainly one to be competitive here. You have to use her in the sequence. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I have some major doubts, and I wouldn't be surprised if Love Reigns scratches because she does quite a bit. Roses for Deborah is very logical here and would be my pick to win this race. Is coming off a really nice effort last time, and like Saratoga, just in really good form. I don't think there's any reason not to use her, and she would be my pick for sure. And then we're going to throw in Gallon and Rush, more for underneath at 10-1 as a closer. Has demonstrated some good ability in the past, and if for some reason there's with all these these turf sprints, it's usually will run on the front end, but it's not out of the realm of possibility a haymaker can get thrown in, especially at 5.5 furlongs as opposed to 5. So we throw Gallon the Rush in there, more for using underneath, and at 10-1 you're getting a pretty good price. But to me, Roses for Deborah is the one to beat, but watch out for Coffee Maker. I think is sneaky good in this spot. Leg 2 is race 10. It's the Just a Game Stakes. It's a grade 1, run at 1 mile on the inner turf for 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. And to me, what I'm looking for is grade 1 horses in this race. I mean, and I know we have some grade 1 winners like Butte de Cachet, who just won the Jenny Wiley at 25-1, but I just don't see this horse getting off to incredibly soft fractions, and that seems to be where she's most effective. So for me, Chad Brown has 5 horses in this race, so of course you're posed with which Chad Brown do you choose. To me, Butte de Cachet is the easiest toss, particularly when you consider you've got Evie Jets and White Beam breathing down her neck, and even Mission of Joy to a degree. So I don't see her. Evie Jets I don't think is quite at the same class level as the others. She's a nice horse, and she's proven to be very versatile. I think she'll probably be more to the front end in this race, and again, I think there's others I like better. White Beam is an interesting horse, and I really don't like as the favorite in this race because she's never even cracked a 100 Brisnet figure. And, she's a nice horse and she's competitive, but I think there's others uh, with a higher top end to win this race. So to me, White Beam, you can kind of go either way with. If you use her, I don't blame you, but I just kind of like others better. Mission of Joy is coming off her best race to date, and it's second off the layoff for Graham Motion. A 4-year-old, I think, has shown some promise, and I think may be rounding into form. And at 12-1, I think you're getting some very good value. Don't know if she can take a step forward to take this one down, but it is an intriguing prospect at 12-1. So I like Mission of Joy. Gina Romantica didn't run very much at all last time. However, it is coming in second off the layoff, and we know this horse is better than that. A mile is her distance, so I think Gina Romantica is certainly one that you want to think about using. Of the closers, Chili Flag got the jump on Coppice last time, and that was really the difference. Coppice had a little bit of traffic towards the inside, and hopefully that won't be the case again. I think if all things were equal, I really like Coppice in this spot. And would be my pick to win it. I just think she'll turn the tables and just showed me a lot last time. And Chili Flag, I think, is a nice horse. I'm just not sure that class-wise she's quite as good as Coppice or even White Beam or Gina Romantic. I'm just not sure about it. And it may not get, probably not going to get a lot of pace to run to. I'm not overly certain about that either. But to me, I just think Coppice looks, on paper, everything just points to this horse being a really classy filly and, got her feet wet in the States, and I think she'll be fine. And I look for her to win this, and I'll probably even toy with the idea of singling.
Leg 3 is the 11th race. It's the New York Stakes. It's a Grade 1, run at a mile and 3/16 on the turf for 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. And this race is normally run at a mile and a quarter at Belmont, but for Saratoga, it's at a mile and 3/16. I don't know how much of a difference that necessarily would make, but it's something to take note of. One horse I think it does benefit is Fev Rover. Ran a really nice race at a mile and 3/16. And I think this is a horse who most of the Grade 1s have been in Canada, so I don't know that they're necessarily true Grade 1s. Sorry, Canada, but things are what they are. But did win the Beverly D, which is a Grade 1. I was looking for Grade 1 horses in this race, and with a couple of exceptions, that's what I've settled on. McCulloch I put in there because the longer the race, the better she likes it. And I'm not crazy. I didn't like that Sheep's Head Bay at all. I just thought that was a really dull race, but is certainly capable of rebounding from that with Chad Brown training. So McCulloch is one I think is logical to use. Didia is, to me, more of a Grade 2 or Grade 3 horse, but, she fires every time, and I think that she could still factor in this race. These are more horses I'm thinking about using underneath. American Sonia, you'll note the SF, that means soft. If the turf does come up soft, I think you definitely have to use American Sonia. Her last effort at Saratoga on soft turf, she ran a monster race, so clearly she likes it. So this is a horse you certainly want to upgrade. I don't know that I'd use her on a firm track, but if it does come up soft, American Sonia may be a sleeper at 10-1. Sparkle Blue, if the track is good, is one that also you want to upgrade. I don't know that is a win candidate here or even a horse I would necessarily use on a dry track, but if it does come up good, a little give in the ground, I think Sparkle Blue at 15-1 offers some really good value. Star Fortress certainly has not run back to that Cardinal where she won by open lengths and just blew that field away. But the last race maybe showed a little signs of life. She ran a really strong second in the Sheep's Head Bay. against incredibly slow fractions. I believe they ran 52 and 118. So I think that, to me, shows perhaps that this horse is really ready to move forward and take another step. And at 20 to 1, you're getting some good value for a late runner. I don't know how much pace there is going to be to run to here, but I think it's a really good sign that she closed into a really slow pace. So that to me is a big positive. English Rose to me is the horse on top. Now, I don't think this horse is going to get on the lead. I think that'll probably be Fev Rover. Royalty Interest will probably try to get on the lead, and they may be content to let her get there, but there's no way she's going to run fractions of 52 and 118 again, and not in this field. And I really don't like her chances at all to stick around. But the horses up near the lead, if it is slow, certainly would have a tactical advantage, and I think that's English Rose. I think that she had her first effort, got her feet wet, and second off the layoff is certainly eligible to improve. Charlie Appleby is, to be taken very seriously at Saratoga, and so that's my pick to take a big move forward and win this. And I think has the grade 1 capability in the class. And that's really, to me, the separating characteristic here. I'll mention Warlike Goddess as a horse that I'm sure a lot of you were relatively surprised that I am excluding. Well, what we know about Warlike Goddess is that 1.5 miles is what she likes to run at. Any other distance, she's a little suspect. Doesn't mean she won't run well, probably can get underneath, but I don't consider to be a strong win candidate. And at 4 to 1, I really don't like that price. The other thing is she is now 7 years old and has shown signs that maybe she doesn't want to run so much anymore. And that will happen with fillies. And so I'm just not willing to take the chance, and I'm just going to try to find value elsewhere for underneath. But English Rose, to me, is the horse to beat. The fourth and final leg of the All-Stakes Pick 4 on Friday's card at Saratoga is the 12th race, the Acorn Stakes. It's a grade 1, run at 1 1/8 miles, and it's not on the turf. Sorry about that. For 3-year-old fillies. And if we take a look at this is sort of a rematch of the Oaks in many respects. So we've got a lot of horses coming back from that race. Regulatory Risk, Power Squeeze, Leslie's Rose, Just What FYI, Where's My Ring, and Torpedo Anna all ran in the Oaks, and they're all coming back to this one. So it's at the same distance. Now, the difference will be, hopefully, it will be a dry track as opposed to a muddy one, and that would impact my selection greatly, I think. I like Leslie's Rose in this spot. Now, she's got what seems to be a virus going through Todd Pletcher's stable. She's got a good race, bad race pattern developing. Now, the Oaks, I think she just didn't like the mud. Got carried wide, things weren't going well, just decided to pack it in. Obviously, that wasn't indicative of how this horse can run. I thought the Ashland demonstrated that this was a horse on the upside and moving forward. And the reason I like her is that I'm not sure about the pace scenario for this race. And I have a feeling it just might break down. And if it does, I think Leslie's Rose might be there to pick up the pieces. And I think she has the upside potential to run a top end that would win this race. And that's really what I'm looking at. And I hope it'll make sense when I talk about some of the others. I like Regulatory Risk as a horse who is... I think is showing a very good progression. The class rating is increasing as the race rating is, and certainly as the distances have gotten longer, she's been getting better. So at 12 to 1, I think she's a sleeper. I don't think she'll be necessarily on the lead, but I like her to be up near it and should be in good position. And again, at 12 to 1, I think she offers some really nice value. Just FYI. Here's the thing with Just FYI. This horse is like the female version of the Wine Steward. She brings it every time, and she's just always somebody a little better. I think she ran about as good a race in the Oaks as she could have run and still couldn't get to Torpedo Anna. And I just don't think she's fast enough. That's what it comes down to. I think as a horse you absolutely have to use underneath, but I just don't see where there's anything to tell me that she can avenge her loss in the Oaks. I just think she just runs as, God bless her, she runs as hard as she can every time, but she's always somebody a little better, and I think it's going to be the same case here. So to me, just FYI, you use underneath. Now, Torpedo Anna ran obviously a monster in the Oaks, but one thing you'll note about it is take a look at those fractions. They were extremely quick on the front end. Now, it was in the mud, and that'll happen sometimes, but her last fraction was very slow. And I think it's more an indication of the speed issues that Just FYI has. Torpedo Anna, she built a lead and was able. I don't really think they geared her down terribly much, to be honest. So, and this goes back to an issue I've always had with Torpedo Anna, is it being by Fast Anna? I don't know if 2 turns is necessarily what she wants. She's certainly got plenty of speed. She's got a lot of class, but running again at 1 1/8 miles, I just kind of wonder if she can duplicate that, and she very well could. But it just looks to me like there's just a lot of things that tell me that she will not be able to dominate this field like she did in the Oaks. I don't know. It's just doing that twice in a row, I guess, is the thing. It just seems like she ran a really big race last time, and I just wonder if she might regress a little bit. Still, I would absolutely use her. I think she is certainly a horse that can win this race. If she runs back to what she did in the Oaks, then she will. But I think Regulatory Risk is going to take another step forward and give her a run for the money. And I also like My Main Squeeze as a horse who will be running off the pace, who looks to be progressing, just came off a nice win. And Mike Maker, as we know, is great at stretching horses out. And this one, I think, should be able to get 1 1/8 miles. I'm not worried about that. And like Saratoga. So this is a horse that offers some really nice value. And, if you want to try to play against Torpedo Anna, you could do a lot worse than a new shooter like My Main Squeeze. But for the reasons stated, I certainly think Torpedo Anna can win this race. But I'm going with Leslie's Rose to rebound on a dry track. Now, if it's muddy, then maybe Torpedo Anna looks a hell of a lot better. But I think she's going to have a little sterner challenge than perhaps she had last time from the ones that we're going to use. So here's what our ticket looks like. And this one, you look at this pick 4, and it does look like it might come up a little chalky. So I don't want to go too terribly deep in any of the legs. Leg 1, race 9 in the Intercontinental, we're going to use 2, 6, and 10. We're going to single Compass in the Just a Game because I think that she represents the class of the field, and I think she's with a better trip. Hopefully this time, I think she'll take it down. And then in leg 3, race 11, we're going to use 1, 2, 3, and if in the New York, and if it is soft turf, we definitely want to throw the 5 in there, whose name escapes me right now, but American Sonia, rather. So if it comes up soft turf, American Sonia add into that mix as well. And then finally in the Acorn, we're going to use 1, 3, and 9. And that's a $27 ticket. If you throw in American Sonia, it's a $36 ticket on a $1 base. And I think that gives us a pretty good chance to have an economical ticket. And if it does come up chalky, we still could probably get some ROI out of it.